Many people are interested in drugs nowadays to explore consciousness. Let's see the use of psychedelics and this thing called ayahuasca, which sounds like a quick fix solution into the spiritual evolution. Even though taking some substances like this, it doesn't mean to be spiritual. It means being spiritual, it's another thing. It's not a concept, it's not a philosophy, a dogma, it's not an experience that lasts for a while and then it goes away. It's actually the possibility that we have as human beings to touch a dimension of ourselves which is beyond our personal mental conditionings and personal limitation of the body. But nowadays it's becoming quite popular, and I was one of the people interested in drugs since I was very young. When I was 18, I was already exploring some drugs to see altered state of consciousness, to see something which was not confined into my usual experience. But nowadays this thing is becoming quite popular, this thing called ayahuasca, which is a brew from South America. For a simple reason, people don't want to do the work, they just want to go for the healing thing, which is gonna last forever, because always they will look for an experience like this that really doesn't bring any kind of real progress into the personal evolution, let's call it like this. Because it's like skyrocketing somebody on space, because you're taking a substance. So a strong experience that you go up there and then you fall down and then basically you're back to normal. You might think, why I'm talking about these things? Well, because I've tried it 5 times, I don't have much experience on it, but I know many people who took it for 40 times or even more, who are into this kind of path. And honestly, I realized that I haven't met anybody actually who took himself or herself out of the way. So no real transformation as far as the human being. I saw the competition was there, the bad emotions, confusion still continue, and this feeling of dependency, of going for the next experience, like the process of transformation of healing, let's call it like this, needs to last forever and needs to happen through a substance. Well, with the Qigong, if it's done in the right way, especially in the Nei Qi Gong path, I talk about this because I know the effectiveness of it, and also I teach it together with Shifu. I was surprised actually to discover that certain states that we might experience during these altered states of consciousness that happen by inducing them, by using a substance, they are not outside the human possibilities. They are within the human possibilities. And in deeper states of, let's call it meditation, even though I will try to clarify this term, which is wrongly used most of the time, we always do this for sake of convenience. They are possible when the body, the mind, and this machine that we have, it's fully optimized and aligned with the energy that composes life. So in deeper state of meditation, let's call it like this, in deeper state of union, which happens on a mental, emotional and physical, so energetic level, we might have these experiences. Now there is a problem usually when people take these substances. They are visionary experiences, they can be quite powerful. I don't recommend them to everybody because they can be quite strong as well. And I don't recommend them because I don't think they do a real long-lasting work of self-transformation. You might get some insight, you might feel more in touch with yourself, you even might feel blissful for a while during the thing, but then everything comes back to normal. While on the other end, what I've discovered with the good practice of Qigong is that actually those things can become stable. That experience of the beyond can become a daily experience. That sense of blissfulness, of full relaxation and openness to new dimension and possibilities we have as human beings, they become a reality on a daily basis. So I compare the ayahuasca like a skyrocketing experience, while I compare the Qigong work, in particular the Nei Qi Gong, like building the stairs to go to the sky. So the goal might be the same, but one is long-lasting and strong, the other one is kind of an ephemeral thing that is also packed together with lots of exotic ideas that we have about these cultures, so wearing feathers and all these chants and nice clothes or whatever it is, and but also with the idea that this extraordinary, or which is in reality quite ordinary, experience of the beyond is actually an experience itself. So something that is perceivable through eyes, visions, senses in general, which in reality is not, because it belongs to life, but it's not into the life perception that you usually have, so through the senses and through the mind. So what I want to say, it's basically this, that although this interest in this kind of drugs and medicinal plants, they're called like this in South America, and in general in the world we use this term, is growing, and many people will not like what I'm saying because there is a huge culture behind this. The Burning Man people and all these people that think spirituality is some sort of experience of the beyond with visions and all these kind of things. Well, they will probably be disappointed, and they can even verify themselves, because if the problem is not fixed, if the constant research, the constant need for a new experience, for the feeling that something is lacking in our lives, the lack of, when I say happiness, I will use the word contentment, will be better. If all these things are not there, well, it means that basically we're just getting confused into the perception of senses, and it can last forever. It can really last forever. It doesn't mean that these experiences might give a glimpse of this state of realization that goes beyond the human mind. But it's not stable, most of the time it's not understood, and I saw lots of ego into this kind of shamanic, all these kind of things that really proves to me that, at least for me, my opinion, these things will not last to a long-lasting experience and true transformation of our human life to take it to the next level. They are exotic things, and within our body, if we optimize it in a way that we truly align with the energy of the universe, and we become sensitive first of all to these things that happen even in our body, and then we refine them to connect to a higher state of consciousness and subtle energy, less dense, well, we might have these experiences as well, that they are not really relevant. In fact, practicing Nei Qi Gong or Qigong, whatever, with this kind of goals of achieving some kind of superpower or super experiences, let's say like this, it's the worst way of practicing this thing, because what we're doing, it's just preparing the body, the mind, the emotions for something higher to happen from above us. And it's a touch of grace, it's a touch from the sky that happens when the practitioner is ready for it, but truly has the power of transforming our human experience 360 degrees. So if you're interested in Nei Qi Gong, you know there is my website where you can find out more about it. You can even sign up for the free basic exercises there. You can even talk to me on WhatsApp via video call if you want to understand more, or you want to schedule individual class together, because that's the way I teach. But what I want to say, if I can say something about this, because I spent some years into this kind of field now, is that there is only one way of growing, I think. It's first taking responsibilities and actually looking and understanding our own psychological dynamics, detaching from it, and for sure the work with Qi and energy, it really opens up new possibilities that I didn't know existed before, that can make this realization of the human being on every level of our life. not just a mental level, not just a psychological level, not just an emotional or a physical level, something that truly involves everything. It's a shame, it's a trend that all these things most of the time they remain concept, because talking about energy, Qi sounds like the new or the other spiritual thing to do. But there are certain practices like the one that we teach that are truly effective, and they come from an old lineage, and the teachers and the masters can prove them, that truly have this knowledge, like in certain forms of yogas. I'm not talking about all the yogas, because when it comes to America, unfortunately, it becomes yoga and beer, all these kind of weird things, so people just stretch, they think it's all about movement. But in reality, within our body, if we optimize it and become sensitive to this subtle level of existence that it's right there, actually it doesn't become subtle anymore, it becomes quite strong as well. We truly have the possibility, that's my opinion, of realizing the full human being in all its potential. And this doesn't mean to embrace any kind of beliefs. It doesn't mean to follow any kind of guru. Only teachers who are just further down the path, and they can guide you and verify your experiences and sensations if they are correct. And that's, for me, it's the most practical way, because if we are looking for calmness, if we're looking for expressing our full potential, it doesn't come from repeating few mantras or sitting and doing some form of meditations. When the meditative states happen, which is something that we cannot decide, it's a natural touch from the sky. We are creating the good conditions, both psychologically and physically, for something greater to happen within ourselves. That doesn't become confined, it's not confined only to those 10, 15, 30 minutes, 40 minutes of practice. But it is a living thing. It is with us. It transforms our life in the sense that we don't look for new things, we don't look for new beliefs, we don't look for new spirituality, we don't look for the new exotic strong experiences. We don't look for feather, we bring them down. We might go through these things, it's quite normal. I went through them and I realized it likely that was not the way, was still a middle point. A sort of, I would say, without offending anybody, even myself, because I was into it, a childish way of approaching the issue of understanding ourselves deeply and developing our true nature and potential. Because when we start to do so, life changes in everything that we do. We don't have to be monks, we don't have to be spiritual people, we will be just people expressing themselves fully, free from the conditioning. So we both have, when we come here, as an heritage from the social conditionings, but also as an heritage of our own mind, because everybody of us has certain tendencies, we don't know why, we just come here to fix the issue or to mess it up. Some people come here to mess up their lives and we don't know what's going to happen next. But truly, when we have a practical experience of what it means to go beyond this experience, while we enjoy it, we deal with it with a nice detached and fully involvement with it, at that stage even the fear of death goes away, because we might realize certain things that are very important and truly transform our way that we interact with ourselves, and we express our talents, capabilities here on any level, because there is no bad thing, a good thing. Monetary, relationship, way of living, lifestyle, whatever it is, artistic, like in my case I also do art. Going back to the Burning Man thing, which I know people will hate me for this, but I was about to be invited to go and play there when I'm a musician, I'm a music producer, when I was playing in Mexico, in Tulum, and I had a conversation with the person organizing actually at the camp, because it's a big festival where there are different, let's say, micro ecosystems with teams and things like this. And I talked to the guy, and I preferred not to go. We really clashed together only for the fact that people think that drugs are a way of freedom, but actually they are a way of caging yourself into new forms of beliefs, and sometimes even a way to dim your own light, like with alcohol, sometimes with other drugs. We think we are free, but truly we're quite numb, when in reality if we optimize this thing fully to the true potential, and this thing becomes a vibrant machine and allows us a truly beautiful experience of life, where life is always the way it is. Problems, things to solve, but we will have a different way to approach it, and also another way of interacting with others, not just for ourselves, but with a more broader vision of what can be a common good without falling into the concept of good and bad. It's just life as it moves.